And today we'll be covering about the secret scope. Okay, so what is secret scope? So secret scope is nothing but it's a collection of secrets identified by a name, right? So when you say secrets, what are the secrets? It could be anything like passwords, account keys, anything that could be, confidential or more user specific. They called as a secrets. Okay, and it's very important and it's related to the security and we don't want to mess it up, right? Hard coding those values and all, right? For example, in our earlier session we have created a mount point, right? So the mount point, what we did, we need a account key over here, right? So the account key, what we did, we have hard coded, right? We have copy pasted the entire key uh, here to create the mount point, right? That's okay, that's for practice, that's okay, but that's not a best practice when you work with a real-time projects, because we don't want to expose the keys and the passwords, anything that outside, right? For example, let's say the same notebook you have shared with your teammate, right? And he had access to the notebook and he had looked into that notebook and he has found that an account key is there. So account key, he can access the using the account key, he can access the storage account and he can do anything, right? And that's a security it's comes part of security vulnerability and it's not a good practice, right? So that's where these secret scopes will come into picture, where you can manage, create the scope and you can create bunch of secrets identified by a name. Okay, similarly of a key vault in Azure Data Factory, what we have done. If you remember the key vault where we have managed the secrets over there, and the key vault we were referring in connecting to a linked service, right? Instead of giving a manual entering the username and password, we were referring the keyword to get the um, thing, right? So similarly in Azure Data Factory also, you can create a, secret scope and where the bunch of passwords and the keys can be added over there. Now there are two types of scopes that we can create. One is Azure Key Vault based and another one is Databricks backed. Okay, so since we are talking about Azure Databricks, right? So Azure Databricks means so Azure also provides a key vault. Okay, so we can use that to integrate with the Azure Databricks. Okay, and second option is also Databricks also come up with their own scope, right? They you can create their own backend. They have their own service to manage the scopes as well. Okay, so there are two types we can deal with this. So Azure Key Vault based, I think we know pretty much in when we discussed in the data factory. So we can create a secrets and we can manage those secrets over there, and you can refer them into the corresponding the key vault name, and then we can refer them into the while connecting to the respective keys or the databases that we know already. Okay, but what is the new one is the Databricks based scope, right? So some organizations, still they use Databricks specific scope. Okay, where it stores the an encrypted database owned and managed by Databricks. Okay, the secret names we already know, it must be a workspace and this contains alphanumeric and all the stuff. Okay, but having said that, if you look into the portal, right? So this is my portal. right? So nowhere it mentioned to, there is no option to mention the key vault over here, right? So there is no option to create a scope, or there is no option. We only have workspace, data, compute, workflows, all the stuff. We don't have any other option. Even if you go to many options, we don't have anything, right? So how do we create then? So that is where there is a concept called CLI. So CLI is nothing but command line interface. Okay, so this command line interface is required to work to create a Databricks based scopes. Okay, so what is this command line? Let's quickly deep dive into that. So command line interface we all know, right? If you type CMD, it's come to that. So this is what the command line interface. Okay, so now how do I install um, Databricks over here? So this is my graphical user interface, right? It's all drag and drop, all the buttons and all. But here we don't have any such. Okay, so what we will do is I will quickly touch upon what is command line interface and all, but there are some limitations. Okay, since we are using community edition, there are some limitations to work with command line interface. Okay, but I will try to do as much as possible so that you also know what is command line interface and how to interact with command line interface. Okay, so for that, there is a beautiful documentation available from Databricks. Okay, as you can see, Databricks CLI. So the requirements is we need to have a Python to be installed in your system. Okay, so how do I know whether I have a Python or not? Just type py. So since I have already installed Python, so Python 3 point, it's showing the version name, right? And if you type in your system, if you don't have installed Python, you will not get anything that py, there is no command found. Okay, so what you can do is you can download the Python. So when you use that Python from Python org, you can see there's a download option. Okay, so it's very simple. I just downloaded some time back. So you can see the downloadable will come and you can just click on this to install Python. Okay, so then you're ready to once you install that, you're ready to use the, now you will get it Python version. Now after that, what we need to do is what it suggests you is, see, we need a run pip install Databricks CLI. Okay, so we need to run the so pip is another package from Python where it helps to install certain libraries and the packages that you want to install. Okay, pip is the kind of an interface. Okay, so what we will do is pip install Databricks CLI. So now before we start pip install, we need to have a pip has to be installed as part of Python integration. Okay, so now first time uh, when you install the first time, pip may or may not be installed. So how do I know whether I have a pip or not? Just type pip version. So it shows pip to 22.3 version already installed, right? So once you install Python, check the Python version, and then we assume that the as part of the Python integration, Python installation, pip also installed. So we need to be confirm that by thinking pip okay version, and then see whether it gives you a version or not. If you get a message saying that pip not found, don't worry. So what you can do is you can reinstall that again. Okay, so when you do that, you can see pip install people which can download Python packages. Okay, so this option, make sure you check this option and just click on next, next, next. So it will reinstall again. Okay, so when after that reinstall, you can again come back and check that. You can type pip version and you will see the pip version over here. Okay, so any questions so far? All right. So now once you have Python and pip both are installed, right? So now we need to, as per the documentation, we need to run this one, right? So let's run this one. Okay, so it's got installed all the required, packages that required to run the Databricks. Okay, so now I'm ready to use the Databricks. Okay, so just type Databricks help. Okay, you can see the similar whatever we have here, right? So all the options you can see it over here. Cluster policies, clusters, configuration, FS, right? Utility to interact with DBFS. We discussed that. Groups, jobs, pipelines, repos, runs, secrets, stack, all the stuff we can do that. Okay, so and you can see anything if you wanted to know more, there is a help is available, right? So let's say you want to know more about clusters. So Databricks, clusters, and then help. So you can see how to create a cluster, how to delete a cluster, how to edit a cluster, and how to list all the recently terminated clusters. All the stuff you can do that from the command line. Okay, so now, so this is how we can create our own command line based things. Okay, so if you go to earlier, if you see there is a so you can see workspace. So you can create your own workspace in the command line. Okay, now you can see there is a thing called secrets. Okay, secrets to interact with Databricks secret APIs. So this is the package we need to use to create a Databricks based scope. Okay, the same thing is available in here also. If you go to workspace, so the way we do, right, db utils dot help, right? You can see there is a module called secrets, provides utilities for leveraging secrets within the notebooks, right? Similarly, in command line also you have a secrets. Okay, so let's see what it does. Databricks secret help, right? So you can create a scope, you can delete a secret, you can add more stuff, and you can see list and all the stuff you can do. The same, what are the options available over here? The same thing. So if you see, right, you can see get by byte, list scopes. So all the stuff whatever is available in a GUI, you can able to do this as well. Okay, so that's how we create a Databricks based scope. Okay, so now for now let's create a simple one which is Azure keyword based one. Okay, so now let's deep dive into Azure keyword base. So what we can do is let's go back to my notebook. Now, if you see here, there is no option to create any secrets or anything. Okay, so for that, what Azure Databricks maintains is they have given a different URL altogether. Okay, so let me do that again. Uh, See, so when you have this interface, you need to add secrets slash create scope. Okay, so you need to append this text to the URL. Okay, so let me show you how it works. So let me log out of this. Okay, so I will log in again, community edition. So this is my home page, right? So if you see at the end, I need to add secrets slash create scope. Okay, so if I enter this one, you can see there is a different home page comes saying that create a secret scope. Okay, so it's a very easy one as so let me log into Azure portal as well. Okay, so now give the scope name, right? We need the scope name as we discussed. We need to give the scope name. Okay, the scope name we need to give that. Okay, let's give scope name scope underscore test. Okay, so now as you can see, there are two options available to manage principal. Okay, either everybody you can give all the users to create and modify the scope, or only the creator who can manage the scopes and he can add and modify those scopes. Okay, why this is an option? Because we don't in general at enterprise real time, so not everybody will have access to create and change the scopes and change the keys and all, right? There will be a security admin, a security guy who can manage all the things, and he is the owner of all the stuff, right? You and me as a team members will not have any access to creating scopes or adding or modifying anything. Okay, but here is a catch. So if you want to do it as a creator, you have to be at an enterprise license. Okay, you cannot have a normal the community based license to create it creator level. Okay, so if you see, define is the managed principle of the secret scope. All users in the workspace are creator only the creator of the object. The creator option works only in the premium tier. You can see. So if you want to have that control of having only creator can access this one, that can only works with the premium tier. which we don't have. We are just using community tab. Okay, so don't worry about that. So let's give all users. Now, if you see Azure keyword, we need to give the DNS name. Okay, so now let's go back here. So if you remember, we created some keywords in earlier, right? During Azure Data Factory, right? So we have secrets and everything. So now if you go to properties, so you see this is my URL, right? So this is what the DNS name we need to give it. Okay, so resource ID. Okay, so if you remember, we discussed what is the property, how these services can be accessed outside. So these are the properties we can share with them. And if anybody wants to use these outside and in other services, they can access this, right? So that's what we are doing it over here. Now go back here. So that's it. So just create it. Secret API is not supported in this workspace. So let's take another one. Okay, so let's create a new keyword. Okay, don't worry. Go to okay, so it's created. Okay, so it's taking a while, but yeah, so See the earlier keywords which were created in the free tier, so that's why it didn't work. So now you can see properties. Okay, so let's me copy this and secret API is not supported in this workspace. So let's see what this error means. Okay, so see, guys, so we have some limitations with the community edition. Okay, so these are all kind of a enterprise level, right? So since community edition is to practice and learn about Databricks, okay, so we have some limitations over here. We cannot do everything. We can, because the secrets and all, uh, it's kind of a um, it's not going to be free. Nobody would give you as free, right? So let's say you are creating a secret scope and all. That means you are running a project. That's what Databricks creates you. Okay, so that is where all this creation and all is not free. Okay, even Databricks based scope also not free. You need to have a premium upgrade tier. Okay, so the CLI, integrating the CLI with the workspace, they are all not free. Okay, so what I will do is I will try to upgrade my I will try to get the more information about this, and if there is a possibility to do in community edition, and we can do that. Okay, so let's assume that you created this scope test. Okay, so now how do we use this? Okay, is it where you need to go back, and if you see our workspace, right? Okay, so here if you see, there is a get method is there. So get method basically gets the string representation of a secret value with the scope and key, right? So if you just pass the scope name and the key string is all, it will get you the string. So what is the scope name here? The scope name, whatever the scope name we have given, and then secrets. If you go to here, right? So we have a secrets here, right? So not this one. We don't have a secrets over here, or we can create a secret, right? So that secret is what you will be using here to pass to this one to get that one. Then this get method automatically gets the secret value and uses that in your creating a mount point, rather than we manually copy that. Understood? Any questions? Is it easy to understand or easy to do that? Okay, so silence means I would say it's easy to understand. But yeah, so the all these things you have to practice, guys. Without practice, nothing works. You can't able to remember. May even if you listen multiple times, it's very hard to remember, right? So unless you practice, it's there is no simple way to remember all this. Okay. So in next class, I will try to get a premium account, and we will see how this exactly we can create, and we can use it in our use it in our Databricks using the getter method. Okay, so that's the one thing. So the homework for you is go back and see and install Python. If you're not already install the CLI. Okay, Databricks CLI install in your system. Okay, and play with these commands, right? Go to help and see what are the different modules available, and use those options and get more details, right? And that way you will be familiar with CLI as well, right? See, that is the one of the ask, right? You cannot everything and anything and everything only do it from the GUI itself, right? There are some options, there are some things that you need to manage from the command line interface also. So you should be familiar with command line interface as well. Okay, so install the required things, and as I mentioned, install pip install and everything, and you can able to do that. All right, so get familiar with the CLI as well. Okay, so the next one I want to quickly touch upon the run command. Okay, let me open my workspace. Okay, so in one of the example, we thought we will take it up later. For example, DB utils and notebook. Okay, so the run command, right? So how to run another notebook from how to run a notebook from another notebook, right? So this method runs a notebook and returns its exist value, right? So now if I see go back and right, so we have created some widgets and we have created, so these widgets are nothing but your parameters to the notebook, right? So if you need to pass the parameters to run this notebook, okay, so what we are doing here, we are just printing those values whatever the coming from input, right? For example, I haven't given any input, so the combo is null. So here Delhi I given, so this printing as a Delhi. Here blank, so it's nothing has printed out, right? And and this is what this notebook does. Now, what if I want to run this notebook outside from another notebook and pass these values explicitly? Okay, so now if you go back. Okay, so we tried with run command. Run command is not working properly, and I did some research on that. So there is another one called you can see percentage run. So percentage run, and you can give the notebook name. Okay, and then followed by the parameters. Okay, for example, if you see there is a test one I have. Okay, so let me go back. Okay, let me open this one. Right, I have similar setup over here. So if you see, I'm creating some widgets, a combo, drop down, text and multi-select, and I'm passing some default values and I'm just printing those values. That's it, right? And now I want to invoke this from another notebook. Okay, so now if I see, I just use the percent run dot and slash followed by the notebook name, which is text one. Okay, so now how do I pass variables using a dollar symbol? So dollar symbol, city name is what I have given as ABC, right? If I want to pass another parameter, which is city DD, right? So I can pass as city DD as my drop down, right? And if I run, right? If you see combo is ABC. It's because I passed that value as ABC, so it comes as an ABC, and the rest of values become a default values, which you can see it over here. Okay, so let's say if I want to change again drop down, right? So drop down, I want to give you DD. Okay, so if I run again, you can see the drop down is ABC, and then the combo value become a default value. So this is how you can pass the variable values, and then accordingly you can run another notebook from a notebook. Okay, so we are facing some challenges with this run method. Okay, so this is another way I have found where we can leverage and use this. Okay, don't worry, we will come back to this also. Okay, and I need to debug a little more and come to that. But till now, we can understand, we can use this run and then play with this. Okay, so now I have two things for you. One install Databricks command line interface. Okay, and do some hands-on with CLI. Okay. Second thing is create a notebook with widgets. Okay, and call the same from another notebook by changing the parameters. So we cannot call widgets now. Let's call it as parameters. Okay. So now I want you to try these two things when we resume the next class. Okay, we have discussed so far the different how to upload files and how to play with widgets and different DB utils, file system, all the stuff we discussed, right? So now before moving to our next class, this is very important to do the hands-on. Otherwise your next class is not going to be just theoretical, it's going to be more practical. Okay, so to do that you need to familiar with these concepts and familiar with the notebooks and all, right. There we cannot um, without working on notebook, without familiarizing on notebook, the next session is going to be very tough. Okay, so I want to give the time to practice all these things and do some exercises so that you're ready for the next class and it makes sense to whatever we do, it makes sense in our next class. Okay, so now the next class going to be on Monday. Okay, since I have some personal stuff, some family function at my home, so tomorrow and day after tomorrow I will not be able to take it up. Okay, because there is a lot of noise and all, which is not good. So I want to give this a break as for you to practice this stuff. Okay, and there is, see, I can go over and I can complete in a week or two, right? But that doesn't mean that it's a actual completion, right? I want you to understand, and you also need to catch up with that speed what I'm going to teach. All right. So before we resume on next class, I want you to practice these two things. I will just post in chat also, so that it makes more sense when you come by, when you talk about the advanced concepts and how do we actually work with the Spark engine. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So any questions before we wrap it up for today's class? So how is the experience? I mean, I know some of you have already created the community edition. Have you tried anything, and have you done any hands-on, and have you played with the notebooks? Anything has been done so far? Yes, no.
Not yet, sir. I will try to do this by end of this weekend.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah. So do that, guys. So see, unless you do, it's not a theoretical. I can go and complete in a week or two, but doesn't make any sense. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So that's where I want to give this 2 days of break so that you will do. I know we all working and there are so many priorities, and balance weekend just is not enough for everything, right? We have so many stuff to deal with. So that's where use these 2 days as an opportunity to do practice on these exercises so that you'll be familiar with the notebooks, and then the next sections which will be directly dealing with the file operations, the transformations using the Spark engine. So there you need to be a little more attention, and there is a little more hands-on are required, right? It's not always theory, it's a hands-on required. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Sir,
Yeah.
one doubt. This notes and collab notes are similar.
Notes and collab notes. What it is recording?
This collab notes or Jupyter notes also, it's looked like same
Correct,
UI.
correct, correct. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So see, Jupyter is a open source one, right? It's a freeware. Okay.
Okay.
So in our use case, we'll be using with the Databricks Community Edition only. So when I say notebook, it's a Jupyter notebook, and this notebook all are pretty much same.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Only pip install is required, sir.
So only
Pip install is required, na? Jupyter. Not.
no. Jupyter, see, Jupyter is a freeware that you have to manage the notebooks. You have to do a lot of installations, like attaching cluster and all. You have to do manually. Okay, but if you use the Databricks one, it's automatically taken care everything. That you would have seen that the kind of user interface that Databricks provides. Right? It's very easy, just drag and drops. Right, within clicks you can start a cluster, you can attach to a cluster, you can run notebooks, you can do anything, right? But if you want to do it in a Jupyter notebook, it's a very manual process. You need to create a cluster on your own. You need to attach to that. You need to install so many prerequisites because it doesn't come with managed.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do that, guys. So we will resume on Monday again, and I want everyone to speak and everyone and has to show me what you have done with the two exercises, and then we'll take it up accordingly.
Thank you.
All right, chalo.
Okay.
Have a good day, guys. Bye.